I will marry her, no matter what. Kim Soo Hyun's bold confession about Kim Ji-won amid scandal storm. What could drive one of Korea's top stars to make such a dramatic vow in the middle of public chaos? As rumors swirl and headlines explode, Kim Soo Hyun has broken his silence, with a declaration no one saw coming. His words about Kim Ji-won have stunned the nation and left fans reeling with emotion. What happened behind the scenes? Why now? Let's uncover the full story. Only here on Red Carpet Revealed. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. The press conference held on a rainy Tuesday afternoon at the Lotte Hotel Seoul was meant to clarify rumors, offer damage control, and perhaps restore some semblance of calm in a media storm that had spiraled wildly out of control. What no one expected, what no one could have predicted, was that Kim Soo Hyun would stand before the cameras, take a deep breath, and say the words that would set fire to every social media platform in South Korea. I will marry her, no matter what. The room froze. Dozens of reporters looked at each other in disbelief. Some blinked in shock. Others began frantically typing on their laptops, certain that they were witnessing a pop culture moment that would be replayed for decades to come. Kim Soo Hyun didn't blink. He didn't retract. He didn't hesitate. He simply looked forward, his jaw tense, his voice steady despite the visible emotions surging beneath his calm exterior. For a man who had remained mostly silent throughout the unfolding chaos of the past 2 weeks, his name tied to scandal, betrayal, and brutal speculation, this was not just a statement. It was a declaration of war against the narrative being built around him, and an unconditional defense of the woman standing quietly in the background of it all, Kim Ji-won. The rumors that lit the fire began with whispers, blurry photos, anonymous insider messages on online forums, and vague reports that something was off between Kim Soo Hyun and his longtime management company. But everything escalated when a now infamous voice recording, allegedly taken during a private dinner, leaked online. The tape featured someone, whose voice many believed to be Kim Soo Hyun's, speaking critically of several executives and fellow actors. Within hours, hashtags like #Kim Soo Hyun exposed and #disrespectful rising star were trending across platforms. His fans, loyal but worried, tried to defend him. The agency went into damage control mode, releasing cold and measured statements. Their celebrities remained silent, until Kim Ji-won made her quiet move. Kim Ji-won's silent loyalty. The rest of the industry turned away. Kim Ji-won did something no one expected. She posted a simple black and white photo of herself and Soo Hyun from a commercial shoot they did 2 years ago. No caption, no explanation. Just the image. In a storm of accusations, her gesture spoke louder than words. 3 days later, paparazzi photos caught her walking into Soo Hyun's apartment building late at night, alone, unaccompanied by staff, in plain clothes. Left early the next morning, with her head down and a hat pulled low. Speculation exploded. She comforting him? Was there something more than friendship between them? Was this her subtle way of choosing sides in a war she had nothing to do with? Her agency refused to comment. But Kim Soo Hyun didn't. The confession at Lotte Hotel. Heavy rain and an overwhelming media presence. Kim Soo Hyun walked into the Lotte Hotel Seoul on June 2, 2025, wearing a tailored black suit with no tie. He looked leaner than usual. His expression unreadable. A murmur ran through the crowd when they saw him. Some expected tears. Others anticipated denial or a carefully written public apology. But what he gave them instead was a raw, defiant, and unfiltered truth. I've made mistakes, he began, voice low and clear. There were moments I could have handled differently. But I am not going to stand here and let half-truths destroy what matters most to me. He paused, long enough to create tension. Then he said it. I love Kim Ji-won. I've loved her in silence for years. And after everything she's done for me, I won't let fear or scandal dictate our future. I will marry her, no matter what. Boom erupted. Flashes fired from every angle. Shouts filled the air. Are you confirming a relationship? Is this a proposal? Did she know you'd say this? But Kim Soo Hyun simply bowed and walked out, flanked by his manager and one silent bodyguard. Behind the scenes, a love hidden in plain sight. For years, fans speculated about the chemistry between Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Ji-won. They'd worked together briefly, shared stages, and even attended the same charity events. But both stars had always maintained a careful, almost surgical distance from dating rumors. Interviews were neutral, friendly, professional. Now, the facade was shattered. Sources close to both actors later told Red Carpet revealed that the two had been quietly seeing each other for almost a year. Their schedules, packed with dramas, overseas endorsements, and press events, made it difficult to meet. But they stayed in touch through handwritten letters and late-night calls. It was Kim Ji-won, one source claimed, first encouraged Soo Hyun to pursue legal action against the tabloid that released the audio clip. He told him not to run, the insider said. She told him he was better than that, and more than anything, she believed him when no one else did. At 10:37 a.m. the following morning, Kim Ji-won's agency released a scanned copy of her note, written in her signature tidy handwriting, inked in blue on ivory stationery. Everyone who has supported me, I've always believed that silence was strength. But sometimes, love speaks louder than fear. I never asked him to defend me. I never needed him to prove anything. And yet, he did, because that's who he is. I'm proud to walk beside him, through every storm. G1. Fans wept. Industry veterans gasped. And hardened critics softened. She hadn't said yes. She hadn't said number 12 sentences. Kim Ji-won made it clear, she stood with Kim Soo Hyun, not behind him, not beneath him, but beside him. A private meeting in Jeju Island. Days later, rumors spread that the couple had flown to Jeju Island for a cooling-off period. Locals reported seeing two people who looked suspiciously like the stars shopping at a small convenience store near Sogwipo. One fan posted a blurry photo, just their backs, her in a beige hoodie, him in a dark blue cap. Neither looked toward the camera. What no one knew at the time was that this was no ordinary getaway. Inside the quiet walls of a traditional Hangstyle villa perched on a cliff, Kim Soo Hyun was said to have prepared a dinner, just the two of them, no staff, no phones. According to a close friend who later spoke under condition of anonymity, he cooked the same dish they had shared on their first unofficial date, a simple seafood stew. And after dinner, he took out a box. Isn't the ring? Not yet. Inside the velvet lining was a small letter, folded in four. You stood by me when it was easiest to leave. So now I ask, let's stand together, always. Wait for your answer. As long as it takes. Soo Hyun. Behind the curtain, their inner circle speaks. For months, both actors had guarded their personal lives with military precision. Even their closest staff didn't know the full truth. Following Soo Hyun's confession and Ji-won's heartfelt letter, the dam broke. Former stylists, backup managers, and commercial staff began sharing their experiences with the couple. Always with affection, never with malice. One stylist from a CF shoot in February revealed, they were so natural together. She'd adjust his collar, he'd pull her chair. But they didn't flirt. It was like watching two people who already knew they were going to grow old together. A former makeup artist from a Vogue shoot said, I once saw him staring at her when she wasn't looking. That kind of gaze? It's not scripted. A scandal shifting in tone. While Kim Soo Hyun's agency continued its legal battle against the tabloid responsible for the leaked audio, public sentiment began to shift dramatically. Fan unions who had initially paused support resumed coordinated campaigns. Sales of his past dramas surged. Ji-won's fan cafe reached record membership numbers in a single day. Even more surprising? Industry insiders who had once hesitated to associate with the embattled star duo now reached out with open hands. A streaming giant reportedly made a formal offer to cast them in a romance drama, together. The couple declined. For now, the meeting with her parents. Perhaps the most emotional turning point came 3 weeks later when Kim Soo Hyun was photographed entering a quiet traditional restaurant in Seoul's Samcheong-dong. Inside, seated at a private table, were Kim Ji-won's parents. Reporters didn't get the details, but they didn't need to. 2 hours later, Soo Hyun emerged, bowed deeply to the press, and walked away without a word. But his face was different. Lighter. At peace. According to a close source, the meeting had been long overdue. Her father was hesitant. He knew the pressure she'd face. But when Soo Hyun said, "This scandal will pass, but my love for her never will," Something changed. A public that finally understands. The Korean public, known for its strict standards and unforgiving judgment, has shown signs of transformation in the wake of this love story. What began as an ugly scandal has now evolved into something deeper. A conversation about loyalty, mental health, and the price of silence. Many fans have pointed out that Kim Soo Hyun's confession was not just about love. It was an act of reclamation, of dignity, of purpose. Kim Ji-won's response? A masterclass in quiet strength. Will there be a wedding? At a fan meeting in Busan last weekend, Kim Soo Hyun was asked, directly, if there was a wedding date. He smiled. His voice shook just a little when he said, "I don't know when. I just know who." The room erupted in applause. For years, Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Ji-won were considered industry perfectionists, polished, distant, untouchable. But now, in the wake of tears, letters, rainstorms, and whispered confessions, they've become something far more powerful, human, and finally, unapologetically themselves.